Welcome to the channel Flying Meditator. Today, in this chapter, we listen to a wonderful story told by Virochin, the father of King Bali. This is a story about a king whose minister is the most powerful being in this creation. So let's fasten our seatbelts and let's get ready to fly. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Vasisht continued, "Craving is the root of all sorrow, O Rama, and the only intelligent way is to renounce all cravings completely and not to indulge in them. O Rama, this indeed is the Brahman state, pure, free from craving and from illness. The mind attains fulfillment only by utter dispassion, not by filling it with desires and hopes. To those who are devoid of any attachment or craving, the three worlds are as wide as a footprint of a calf, and a whole world cycle is but a moment. Hence, for restoring peace to the mind, remove the disturbing cause, which is hope or craving. Or, O Rama, bring about a transmutation of the mind, even as King Bali did. I shall narrate to you the story of Bali. The demon king Bali, son of Virochan, ruled over Patal region. The Lord of the universe, Sri Hari himself, was a protector of this king. Hence, even the king of heaven, Indra, adored him. By the heat of the very radiance of this king, the oceans got dried up, as it were. His eyes were so powerful that by a mere look he could move mountains. Bali ruled for a very long time over the netherworld. In course of time, intense dispassion overcame King Bali, and he began to inquire thus: how long should I rule over this netherworld? How long shall I wander in the three worlds? What shall I gain by ruling over his kingdom? When all that is in the three world is subject to destruction, how can one hope to enjoy happiness through all this? Again and again, the same disgusting pleasures are experienced, and the same acts are repeated day after day in this world. How is it that even a wise man is not ashamed of this? The same day and the same night again and again. Life in this world revolves like a whirlpool. Doing all this every day, how can one reach that state in which there is cessation of all this repetitive existence? How long should we continue to revolve in this whirlpool, and of what use is it? While he was thus reflecting, he remembered, I remember what my father, Virochin, once told me. I had asked him, Father, what is the destination of this world appearance or repetitive existence? When will it come to an end? When will the delusion of the mind cease? Gaining what shall one attain total satisfaction? Seeing what shall one seek naught else? I see that it is impossible to attain this by means of experience of the worldly pleasures or actions, for they only aggravate the delusion. Pray, tell me the means by which I shall rest forever in supreme peace." Virochan said to Bali, "My son, there is a vast realm wide enough to engulf the three worlds. In it, there are no lakes, no oceans, no mountains, no forests, no rivers, no earth, no sky, no winds, no moon, no gods, no demons, no demigods, no vegetation, no heaven, no high and no low. Not me, nor the gods like Vishnu. Only one is there, and that is the supreme light. He is omnipotent, omnipresent. He is all, and he remains silent as if inactive. Prompted by him, his minister does everything. What has not been, he brings about, and what is, he alters. This minister is incapable of enjoying anything. He does not know anything. Though ignorant and insentient, he does everything for the sake of his master, the king. The king remains alone, established in peace. Bali asked, Father, what is that realm which is free from psychosomatic illnesses? Who is that minister and who is that king? The story is wonderful and unheard of. Kindly explain all this to me in detail. Virochan replied, All the gods and demons put together, and even a force, many times their strength, cannot even challenge the minister. He is not Indra, the king of the gods, nor the god of death, nor the god of wealth, nor a god, nor a demon, whom you can easily conquer. Though it is believed that the god Vishnu killed the demons, it was indeed this minister who destroyed them. In fact, even the gods like Vishnu were overpowered by him and made to take birth here. Cupid derives his power from this minister. Anger derives his power from him too. It is because of his wish that there is unceasing conflict between good and evil here. This minister can only be defeated by his own master, the king, by no one else. When in due course of time there arises such a wish in the heart of the king, this minister can be easily defeated. He is the most powerful in all the three worlds, and the three worlds are but his exhalation. If you have the ability to conquer him, then indeed you are a hero. When the minister arises, the three worlds are manifested, even as the lotus blossoms when the sun rises. When he retires, the three worlds become dormant. If you can conquer him, with your mind utterly one-pointed and completely free of delusion and ignorance, then you are a hero. If he is conquered, then all the worlds and everything in them are conquered. If he is not conquered, then nothing is conquered. Even if you think you have conquered this or that in this world. Hence, my son, in order to attain absolute perfection and eternal bliss, strive with all your might and in every possible manner, whatever be the difficulties and obstacles, to conquer that minister. Bali asked, Father, by what effective means can the powerful minister be conquered? Virochan replied, Though this minister is almost invincible, my son, I shall tell you how to conquer him. He is overcome in a moment if one grasps him by means of intelligent action. In the absence of such intelligent action, he burns everything like a venomous snake. One who approaches him intelligently plays with him as one plays with a child and playfully subdues him. Such a one beholds the king and is established in the supreme state. For once the king is seen, the minister comes completely under one's control. And when the minister is under one's control, the king is seen clearly. Until the king is seen, the minister is not really conquered. And until the minister is conquered, the king is not seen. When the king is not seen, the minister plays havoc and spreads sorrow. When the minister is not conquered, the king remains unseen. Therefore, one's intelligent practice has to be simultaneously twofold: to behold the king and to subdue the minister. By intense self-effort and steady practice, you can gain both of these, and then you will enter that region and never again experience sorrow. That is the region inhabited by holy men who are forever established in peace. My son, I shall now make all this explicit to you. The region I have referred to is a state of liberation, which is the end of all sorrow. The king there is the self who transcends all other realms and the state of consciousness. The minister is the mind. It is the mind that has made all this world as pots from clay. When the mind is conquered, everything is conquered. Remember that the mind is almost invincible except through intelligent practice. Bali asked, "Father, kindly tell me what intelligent practice will enable me to conquer the mind?" Virochan replied, "The very best intelligent means by which the mind can be subdued is complete freedom from desire, hope, or expectation in regard to all objects at all times. It is by this very means that this powerful elephant of the mind can be subdued. This means is both very easy and extremely difficult, my son. It is very difficult for the one who does not engage himself in serious practice, but very easy for the one who is earnest in his effort. Just as there is no harvest without sowing, the mind is not subdued without persistent practice. Hence, take up this practice of renunciation. Until one turns away from the sense pleasure here, one will continue to roam in this world of sorrow. Even a strong man will not reach his destination if he does not move towards it. No one can reach the state of total dispassion without persistent practice." With this, we finish today's chapter. See you again.